Pretty good. Um, Interesting day today, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's that morning spike and sell off pattern. It's
Yeah.
we hadn't seen it in a little while, but with CPI coming up, it's not entirely surprising that it would happen.
No, stuff kind of makes more sense after it happens, especially the longer you hang around, and it totally makes sense now that the pennies ran so hot earlier in the week and everything kind of failed. The a lot of psychological levels just didn't work. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
not really like levels that should have failed, but just like regular psych levels seemed overpowering early on in the week. So um, I've been expecting it since like last week, though, just to have a healthy market. We've been running a little hot. Um, Maybe it's because of what I watch. But at least in the stuff I'm watching, it was running. Stuff has been running for 8 9 days. Um, I just
yeah, yeah.
I
And
just I
and
was
for
hoping for the U-turn day to day, and that didn't happen. That was where I kind of was like let down.
right, yeah, I was looking for some follow through from like Roblox, and it just has been bumping up against like 34 and just giving it back, and it did it again today.
Yeah.
So that yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's trade. That's a really tradable range, 30 to 34.
Hey, I got my fill on B big.
Be big.
Mm.
Oh, BBIG.
Yep,
Right.
had a standing order in for $2.
It finally came through for you, huh?
Nice.
I
That's a good. That's a pretty good level on that one.
I I screwed up on that F cell. That sucked. So I'm kind of like, all right, I'm not gonna hold here. Don't do that again overnight. So I didn't really look at anything today, but towards the end of the day, um, it's shitty because it came back, and I'm only saying like I guess preaching it is because you really got to stick to your plans. Because I mean I lost $200. I should have made $200, and that's a $400 swing. If I just let the ER come to me, um, I don't know. That was pretty much my negative highlight of the week because I've been doing really good, like um, better than I should have. But again, it's because these crappy pennies are running so hard, and they're pretty easy
Yeah,
to see who's on them.
I haven't had as much time for DD this week. Probably my craziest week of the year with this AP grading thing. But I just been using a lot of old levels. So like Twillo has come back to where I traded it a few weeks ago. It's been really good. Trading off 100 and net today. Net came back. It's almost at 50 again, which is a good spot for that one. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of happy with what's happening.
Sure, sure.
It's a little hard. It's harder to trade. Like stuff gets into a new range and takes some time to sort it out. But with some of these pullbacks, there's a lot kind of familiarity where
Yes.
I know I can trade off these. Depending on what happens tomorrow, we'll see.
Yeah, there's like an acceptable level and then like an unacceptable level of pullback, and it's, most things didn't breach it. There was a few that were, um,
Yeah.
where
Well,
they just go for it.
look at Roku today. I mean, Roku yesterday went up 9%. Today it went down 9%.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just like talk about a rejection, and that was just off of
105.
it's 105. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, and I seen that play out so much. I was helping one of the guys with Upstart this week, and that thing, and because I don't trade that normally, and it was doing it has enough range to trade, but it's all backside. So like if you try to play to previous day high, you're gonna get ruined. But there's still $3 or $4 range in it, um, and then it just failed with the market today. But
yeah, and
there's
I'm
a very, I mean, you
third.
can trade this right here, but man.
35 is my option floor on Upstart. We'll
Yeah,
see
that's what
if
I
it
have too.
touch that.
I didn't
Okay.
think 40 was gonna break though, P. I really thought 40
No,
would
no, I
hold
didn't. I didn't
today,
either.
and we
Yeah,
finished 39.
Yep.
So that this is one like, and again, like when you trade equities, you kind of want to know this. This is the part I definitely wanted to. I had this wrote down somewhere. You need to know like when the market goes a direction, does the stock kind of follow? Um, Either way, up or down, does it have its own like its own trend? That it just kind of follows no matter what, or is it just like totally oblivious to everything going on? Um, because it's going to fit one of them categories. And this Upstart, me watching it, it goes with the market. A lot of tech goes with the market. Um,
Yeah,
from what I
and
noticed.
to me, this is where the indices are the most important. I mean, it's not. I'm not really here to scalp half% moves on SPY or anything, but there are certain stocks that if SPY and QQQ are not at least somewhat favorable, they are not going to move. They're just not going to do it. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what their flow is or anything else. They need that breathing room from the indices to kind of get the go signal. So, that's why when I do those notes, I always list whatever ETF I'm watching with it. And you really see that in commodities. I mean, you're just not going to see oil go anywhere without XLE, helping push it as well. So, but this is where it gets, different. Like some of the pennies and some of the smaller caps, they will just go without, because they're not really tied to it in the same way. So it's kind of a large cap thing.
Yeah, and I think the why I'm bringing that up is because people ask me, and I'm sure you all the time, like, how do you know that's gonna move? Well, that's right there is like a tool that is not an indicator. That if you figure it out about the stock will really help you because if SPY's running, you'll know like these things usually go with it, or QQQ's moving, this will go with it.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Well,
just
and
just is almost a sympathy play.
and you can kind of tell, like when you're in a trade, if you see SPY starting to weaken, it's time to tighten up your stop loss or get out. Because, like, I mean, Tesla is like a really obvious example of this, but like if Tesla's running and then all of a sudden SPY drops, 0.3% or something like that, you're going to see a little pullback with it. Now that might be temporary, it might turn around or whatever, but if you're in weekly options, that those little pullbacks are like $50-$75 per contract. So you always want to be mindful of that.
Yeah, and kind of like to revert back a little bit on the what made me think of that is these solar plays, kind of just what you just said. Beam, SPI, and Sun W. They didn't stop today. They didn't even dip.
Yeah.
At all. Beam did not dip. This did not dip all day long.
Yeah.
$3 move all day, and I don't know why solar didn't dip. I know I can find shitty ones when Professor says solar's moving. Whenever he mentions in phase, I go look at about 6 of these. Half of them are usually good. Um, but it's just knowing that stuff is really going to help people, I think, right now, and in these conditions, because it's to me right now, it's those things like stand out. Those inconsistencies stand out, and finding a way to trade those inconsistencies is the best thing you can do. Um,
Yeah, I mean, heck, half the reason I ended up in SD and Dino and stuff like that is that, they were oil plays that had a stronger uptrend, whereas the mega caps would have bigger pullbacks, and just got kind of targeted for shorting and profit taking and all that, and the smaller ones that they started their uptrend later, and they're kind of, it's been a little bit more durable, and you can stay in the trade longer with shares or with monthly options, whereas Oxy is like a trade that's going to be 30 minutes or an hour, or or something like that, like a pure day trade. And that's where I think that developing a style that's kind of multiple is important. Like I myself have only recently really gotten into pennies, and if you want to trade, every day, like that's kind of my thing. I know people say don't trade every day, but I want to trade every day. And so if you want to trade every day, you have to have a couple different approaches, because one kind of stock, one sector is not going to give you a good trade every day. So learning to recognize conditions, I think, is crucial.
Yeah, no, 100%. You can't trade one stock every day, and like you have. I think that kills people a lot too, is they win on one stock maybe 2 days in a row, and then they'll play it the next three, and it won't pan out.
Yeah, like
ahead.
all those people who switched to, it's like, oh, I only trade SPY now, and they were doing it on those days where SPY was giving you 1.5% every day. Well, those days where it gives you 0.3% and it has, moves in both directions, then they'll just whine about chop and, on to the next category. So.
Yeah, and the style of like, I'm going to trade this, so I successfully win and it's just going to keep going up, so I'm going to trade it. And the FOMO people that don't get there the first 3 days, I think that's really the worst possible setup, because then you're always late to the party and you're trading something that already happened. I try to stress that to people, because our style in general is 5 to 10%, or on your side, maybe 20 to 30% on the options. You can't use that as confirmation. If that happens, that's what we were looking for. Could there be more? Sure. Always could be more, but you got to understand that we play like for the base hit, and then when the ball gets fumbled in the outfield, we take a couple extra bases. That's just the way it is. And playing that way from almost a protective posture, just getting on base, is why we can successfully do this day in, day out. Because if not, you just have like 3 good trades, and that one that you don't let go wipes it all out, and then you're just stuck in that stupid cycle. And,
yeah. So I can run down some sectors if you want. Kind of just what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, sure.
So like, basic materials. There, when the market started its big downtrend in like late November, etc. Basic materials were like a place you could go that, were a lot of those were really hot, hitting an uptrend and everything. But right now they are really kind of pulling back hard with the market as a whole. So it's just really a tough environment to get any kind of swing going. Like AA was down 10% today, and we're kind of right back to where we were in early May. So I think like right now, I do see buyers in these metals and CLF and X and AA, but it's kind of a kind of day trade environment right now. And like AA, if we can get it back, like 55 is pretty good. I don't really see it going much lower than that, maybe like 53 or something like that. But that's definitely something to watch. The best flow today is in the gold stocks again. So they fell a little bit, but not really significantly. I'm seeing a lot of sold puts on AUY right now at
5.
At 5 and 550. Yeah. So you always want to keep in mind that bad inflation news can sometimes be good for gold. So I would definitely watch gold futures, see how that reacts to CPI, because there definitely could be some day trades in gold tomorrow. And like the stock gold is at $20, which is like that's
pretty low,
the perfect spot for that one. I don't really see it giving up 20, so it's a pretty safe spot to add it. Probably shares and monthly contracts for me on that one.
Yeah, I have we have well, not I. We had 21 on gold. We had 57 on AA, and 5 on AUY. AUY definitely shows the most strength out of those, but they're all the same, just right under that um, former support.
Yeah, and once they get going, I would expect AUY to kind of do the same thing where it just had the tightest range in that uptrend and just really didn't give up its gains very much. Just a really impressive stock overall.
Yeah, gold usually has a good day after these big bad days.
Yeah, and communication services, I like this dip on skills. Back to, so it went up to 2. Now it's back at 175. Kind of would like to see it maybe get to. I don't think we're gonna get 150, but maybe like 165, something like that.
Yeah, 160.
Yeah, because it'll this little range it's in, I think, is gonna hold up. I don't know that it has much more downside from here.
You might not. Yeah, you've nailed that, P. Good. You're getting good at the TA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think 165 is probably it. I would like set an alert there, and if it offers below that, that's pretty safe looking.
Yeah, because the flow is there to keep testing too, and we'll see if it wants to push beyond that. You have whales entering into these crazy leaps at 10. And that's not an indication they expect it to get to 10. But when it's 2024, any move, if it breaks out of this $2 thing and like gets back up to 3 or so, I mean those leaps will go up 30-40%. So that's kind of what they're banking on, I think, with that. And let's see here. I was looking for a little more excitement out of Meta with the ticker change, but I just don't think the market conditions were right. So it's Facebook dipped down to 184. Just run to 200 is likely, but there's a lot of uncertainty tomorrow. The floor in options is 180, a little bit at 175. So we get down there, I'll be really interested in it.
This chart's one of those ones that it didn't make sense why it was bouncing off 200 so solidly, because it has enough history to really not do that, and it makes sense now. Like it was just this should totally be above 200, just from the TA side. You followed the market today though.
Yeah, it collapsed end of day. Yeah. So I'm looking for that to pull back a little bit more, maybe. Fubos, just same thesis on that. Thinking kind of longer term now. So we're back now to 310, and closer to 3 the better. And I don't think it'll give up much below 3.
Yeah, and that was all today. I mean, you could be playing this, 320, 330, 340 before this. But 330 is kind of it's the number everywhere on all time frames, which is 10% above the $3 mark. Just kind of means people are willing to play a premium for this at this level. That's how I interpret that. Like, if this thing stood at like 310, 320, I'd be more worried about the $3 psych. But people are paying a premium for it. It seems like at this level. You're not getting 280s.
The flow on it is all longer term, $4 or $5. So that's kind of what I'm thinking it'll get to in the fall. So
the whales are gamming from what I'm picking up in the last about 6, 7 months with you, is the whales are kind of gamblers. It's educated guy. I mean, they don't know. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they're just setting up for what they think is going to happen, and that's a lot of what we see.
Yeah, and I think it's just scenarios of this stock's going to recover or someone's going to buy them, and it's not likely to just collapse anymore from here. That's the story I see.
Yeah. Like this has the most potential with limited risk if we do recover, and they just go like 3 or 4 months out, every 3 or 4 months. And these ones have the most potential for when we do finally get off the goddamn floor. I mean, this thing 3x, what's that? $12. That's nothing if you look at the chart.
Yeah.
Like that's how they're. I just really feel that's how they look at things. Not all the time. Sometimes they know, like they got some insider information, right? Like they know, and it moves then moves the next day. But when you see flow read consistently, and it just kind of moves to the next month and it cycles, it seems like that's what's going on. Is like they're
right, and the insider info tends to be a very limited number of buyers that concentrate a high volume on a peculiar strike. With Fubo, it's more. With Fubo, it's like more dispersed. It's like we're just going to keep piling into this because we feel like it's going to go.
Yes.
And so I basically trade it like they do. If they're just wanting to buy time on it, then I'm not going to play weeklies on something where their thesis is this could go from 4 to 6 months. Like it could take that long. So I'm going to just kind of match their timeline where I can. Take a look
on the contract side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll buy Leaps then.
Yes. Yeah. I like Leaps. $4 is kind of what I'm targeting. January 2023.
Nice. And I'm fine. Like I these kind of equities, I'll find if you can get a good enough price. Like if I had 280s, I would just sit on them.
Yeah.
That's how I handle it from my side. So like, let this die a little more, or I'll play the 10% range and hopefully be there when it moves. Right. That's the share side for me.
Right. No, I think that's right on. Notice Groupon didn't collapse today.
Yes.
Flow on that is very strong. So that is certainly worth watching. It has some July range to 20, and that would not surprise me at all if it hits that.
What's shocking is how good it of a day it had yesterday and the day before, and still held up today. Like that was kind of the surprise.
Yeah, most stocks just gave it most of it back,
or some.
Yeah,
something like.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I would have expected it to pull back about 3.5 to 5% today, just given everything. So the fact it didn't is really notable.
And you said 20 on this?
Yeah, July 15th, 20C.
Anyone that got the dip on this did real good. Even if you got the first spot, 50, you're still good. This is a good chart. Since ER.
Yeah, it's my favorite crappy app right now.
Yeah, and 20 is just recovery from pre-ER. I mean, it's not like you're shooting for the moon here. Just where you were.
Yeah.
Just retracing. Yeah, it's not even back into the zone we have of 23, which is your year volume profile.
All right. So that, let me get into another sector here.
You know which one you killed and you don't talk about?
What's that?
That CLNE.
Oh, yeah.
you absolutely killed that. I mean, I remember you saying, "Oh, I guess it's going to 5."
Right.
Like it took too long or something. And then I looked the other day and it ran, and then today it ran 10% too, because it's kind of in the shitty energy for me. It's over there, and it's 6:30 today, bro. I had a great day again.
Yeah, it had that massive sell-off in May. Just very nice recovery.
And you called this like, yeah, it was even back here because it was sub. I remember when it got to 5, you said, okay, I guess it is finally going to move. But it stayed on 5 for like a week and a half, and then let's just continue up. Yeah. Um, too many
Yeah,
good plays sometimes.
that one. That one had. If I recall, I think pumpers were on that like last year, and like I know laid back was,
Someone pumped
but
that. Yeah, because that was a
yeah.
dollar, 250 to 20. That wasn't
Right.
natural.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't natural.
Right.
But still, you caught the great dip on that. Whenever you mentioned it, the timing was perfect.
Yeah. I'm so these. I trade a lot of large caps, but I'll tell you, these smaller cap filters have some of the best results for me. Just the kind of the cleanest flow reads, less noise.
Well, you're not gonna get. I mean, there's occasional, but you're not gonna get the 30 to 50% moves in the large stuff. It's just not happening.
No, no.
Especially in like a month or 2 week time period. It's just not happening. Yeah, but you don't want to hold something like this forever, And if you got a good entry on like Rivian, right? If you 100%ed Rivian, I mean, I could see you wanting to hold that share side.
Right.
So there's always that too. I don't know. It's kind of give and take, I guess.
So consumer defensive tomorrow should be interesting to watch. Kind of looking for some of those names to if we get a big sell off, I'm just going to be watching to see what holds up. MO is just really oversold right now with bullish flow.
Did you read the news?
So, no, I didn't.
You check into
What was
that.
there?
They had some. It was something. It wasn't good. It was something about inventory. I can send it to you. I seen it on the news. They were talking about it.
Yeah,
But
those are two
it wasn't
fat red
good.
daily.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't good news, and I like the options on this thing. This is one
yeah,
where I'm kind of like trying to learn the options. So I was in it with you at 50, but I was like, let's give it, the 3 day rule type thing. Let's give it a couple
right.
days and see what happens, and it just hasn't stopped falling. What was that goddamn news? They're another one of them that just get so much news.
Yeah. So KO, anyone who had gotten in on that when it was under 60 did very well because it went back up and tested 65. So it's now back at 61. So if we do get, the market wants to act like it's just a disaster with CPI. If this goes back under 60 again, we're just going to do the same thing, or I'm just going to do the same thing. So
which one? Sorry.
KO.
Oh yeah. I feel that way about Dow too.
Yeah. It's, so again, it's kind of flow is sort of mixed. It's just CPI contingent. We'll just sort of see what happens there. One that's showing a lot of strength right now is Ollie. I don't know if you have these stores around where you're at. It's like a bargain store.
Nuh-uh.
Um,
ALI?
it's OLLI.
OLLI.
So they engage in retail of closeouts, excess inventory, salvage merchandise. So they're like a poor man's Ross, which Ross itself is,
What?
But anyway.
All right. I just Nigeria, John. Nigeria.
Right.
All right. What do we got?
It's at, okay. So like it's at kind of a decision point right now here at 55. Yeah. But in terms of the flow on it, in July,
65.
you have buyers at 60 and 65.
Yeah, 65 is good. So, you're almost a gap to there.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the chart, and I do see a big fat gap right at that level. So,
pretty
so this is had a great day and a shitty market day, so could definitely pull back 52 or something like that. But But I see this in positive conditions making a run at between 60 and 65. So one to watch on the option side for sure.
It's just flat today too. Really, yeah, that's another one that really didn't had sell off at the end of the day, but interesting. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, it's all over the flow in the consumer defensive. So
on the
Tupac
share
mentioned,
on the shares,
go ahead.
I'm trying. Sorry. On the shares, I'm trying to get. I mean, it probably ain't coming, but the 47 to 50 range would be the great place to add shares here, in my opinion. Doubt it.
So some of the Chinese ADRs, they pulled back a bit, but haven't really given up everything. But I think the one to watch in this sector is RLX, and I want to kind of see if $2 is going to hold up because the options are saying it is. So we'll see if it does, but it's could go to 3.
It has some serious volume. I like it. I got 193, but it had a good start of the week too.
Yeah. So we'll see how much the Chinese stuff wants to give back.
Yeah, 3 and 350 stand out.
They're a vape company.
Have you looked at that? Is it DLL?
Oh, that's the new ADR yeah.
DDL? Yeah, keep an eye on
it's on my list for tonight.
It doesn't have options though. God damn it. I like it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it could bump up to like 650 maybe.
It just has those. It's good. Some things just respect RTL really well, and that's how I trade. So, yeah.
Ding Dong Cayman Limited.
Yeah, no clue.
E-commerce, produce, meat and seafood.
Yeah.
Other daily necessities.
Just
nice.
poop. Just poop. Yeah. I think it's like DoorDash. I really do think it's like some knockoff DoorDash.
Chinese DoorDash.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but I caught this thing at the $4. I forget what move I played it. I played it once and then kind of like left it alone, and but I shouldn't have. It ain't stopped since. Yeah, I think I played like this 350 to 4 down here, somewhere in here. I don't know. But yeah, I like ADRs. They're kind of like mixed, and China's trying to help them right now. I just don't like following the news, right? Like it's hard to stay up on what China's government.
Yeah, they're so centralized that they can just send these or kill them all with just one news release. So that's always dicey. But they're just my take on the ADRs is I don't like shorting them because they're so beaten down already that it's just so much more room to the upside when they're favorable. And usually the holding overnight on those is a big risk, but often if you get a spike in the pre-market, they pull back and then you can catch them at open and get a retrace. And if they want to fall apart, you lose 10% on the trade. Oh well, but those they've just been reliably doing that. So study a few. I like BABA, JD, SE in the large cap side, and then we kind of know the small cap names.
I'm kind of with your theory. There's always one that kind of overreacts to the downside. That's the one I like.
yeah, that was Beak recently.
Yeah,
because Chinese real estate's just a mess. But that dipped and then it had like a 60% day. I caught like 40% of that. That was amazing.
Last year I just played the EDUs mostly, but there's a lot. There's a lot more to offer. That Tiger one's really good too.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Tiger PDD is one that kind of outpaces whatever's happening, so you can usually catch that too.
Docu misses top 38.46 on the estimate, but they beat sales um, by like 7 million. It's a mixed report all around. Um,
Wow, 20%.
yeah, that's an overreaction, 100%. I'll be
Yeah,
really interested.
seeing that under 70 is kind of shocking.
Yeah, I'll be playing this tomorrow most likely because it should check back.
You won't get into it tonight?
No, not after last night. I'll wait. I did that yesterday. It wasn't successful. I mean, you can, if you do that, like 25% or 50% of what you're willing to position wise. I don't put your whole position in if you're gonna risk that right now. No, I like it at this level though.
No, it'd
Yeah, I
be
mean, if
definitely a small position.
I mean, I'm hoping we're below 70 now, so I'm hoping we get like a 66, 67 flush, and I'll pick it up there.
yeah, and even if CPI is good, one thing to keep in mind is that you probably are going to get a couple fat red candles before it turns positive.
Yes.
Because they get those algorithms just kind of try to anticipate what's going to happen, and you get those sell candles. So you, even if it's going to last like 10 seconds, could get it for $2-3 better than this.
But, and real quick, Pops, the way I look at this thing, mid candle here is 78. So I now have the luxury, because I'm a fan of this thing falling. If it does fall to 66, 67, I can wait for the uptrend through 70, play 70 to 75, 71 to 74, and still get a decent percentage out of the move. I don't need to get the whole thing. That $3 or $4 move will still be 30 to 40% of my goal on the day. And that's how I look at that. I'm not trying to get all of this. This pie is just big enough. I'm gonna be able to get a piece of it. I don't have to time. Trying to time it perfect is risky. Just let the range create. When the uptrend starts, take a piece of it, and that's how you get the green entries. And then you can just put your stop loss either at entry or in the green, because you're basically getting the trend. That's not going to happen after hours usually.
Yeah.
After hours is a legit gamble. You're guessing a lot on tomorrow. There's some levels that I'll play like that. I think last one I said Red Box 6 was great. But it has to be more about the level it's on to hold or buy in the after hours session for me. Same with pre-market. Like the level just has to be strong. I'll buy in an uptrend in pre-market. That's a thing, but after hours I think you're literally gambling. You really are.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
68 right now though. Are we at 68 here? Let's go. Yeah, just take your time here. We closed at 87. It's at 68. That's $20. Like I said, I need $3 or $4 out of there. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I mean, if you're greedy, you might lose. But how are you seeing this, P?
So
like the IV's probably overextended, right? It's probably got super high IV or IO, whatever it is. People's confused.
Yeah. So so like if you bought a like 70 put on it for $100, you might wake up disappointed, because if this does recover to like 72 or something like that, you're not going to make very much money on it, if anything. But in terms of what, like the flow going into it, definitely some potential to catch this at open on the IV flush. Because, just like as, when IV flushes while you're holding something, it's bad. If it flushes right before you buy it, it's good. So that's why the aftermath is a little bit of an easier play, and it's more of a calculated risk than the pure gambling. So yeah, I mean, flow today was bearish, and you did have actually some big volume on puts at 70 and 65. So it could actually touch that 65 number. We'll see if that happens.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, if you go out to the day, this drop isn't much of anything.
No, it's not. It's going right. Well, if you look on our chart we have, it's pretty much going to go back to the trend line. It's pretty much going back to this trend line right here. Here, I'll pull out even farther. Yeah, I talked about this. This is when I started posting DocUs because it came off the trend line. Came back up to this 91 level, but this trend line it's been in control for 3 months, 4 months maybe. I could probably go back farther than that. Yeah, longer than that. Shoot, I gotta bump out to the year, but when did DocU start falling? Jesus, that was December.
Yeah, it had
December.
That was a huge, like a 50% drop or something.
Yeah, but since then we've had this trend. I think we established a trend line maybe February. And this thing has been in control since. So it coming back down to that is not a huge surprise, which I'll give you a number right here. Hold up. What's this at? That's 50, 40, 51-ish. So yeah, 65 is mid-candle. The downside break, I guess. Just plenty of potential. I don't short stock, so this is how I find opportunity in the downside. If not, I wouldn't be trading every day. I'd just be sitting here waiting for the euphoric market to come back. But that's also why I take those smaller moves of 5-10% or play to $1 level on the bigger ones, is because that's where the opportunity is in this environment, and you have to kind of have different skills for different seasons, I guess. But this has been the best setup for me last 3 weeks, hands down.
So I would definitely have your eyes on some energy tomorrow, and I would definitely not assume that IMPP is done. This could go to $1 pretty easily. So if you scalp that one, keep an eye on that. The safer plays like VTNR is giving you about all of the dip I think you're probably going to see on it. I don't really see this going much lower. Uptrend's a little too strong, so probably back to 18 on VTNR pretty soon.
I can't figure out, P, if the crappy energies were running because they're like crappy penny stocks or because the energy is running. Like, I'm confused on that right now.
Today was unusual in that 4 of the top 6 option contracts were IMPP today. And I mean, with the volume that Exxon and Oxy get, that's saying something, because usually they're the ones that are up there.
It had quite the day on the volume side. I mean, 230 million shares traded too. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's so huge. Rig. That I caught it through the 438 alert, but that power move kind of held up too. We're still at 450s. 9 was another one in a big uptrend.
They Rig, same deal. Like the whales are just they're buying options into all this selling, so they're not pushing them down with puts. They're just buying the dip. So definitely think that'll probably continue. One of my favorite new ones is NOG.
The NEGG?
No, it's a NOG,
Oh, no, Paley was
Northern Oil and Gas.
Paley was going to be happy there.
And again, RSI looks overheated and all that, but it's still it's gonna probably test 40 before it gets any kind of significant pullback based on what I'm seeing.
I'll put it on the flex here. Yeah, you're good on every time frame on that thing.
Yeah.
What you said, 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, energy is still the safest thing currently in an uptrend, in my opinion.
Yeah. It very well, if CPI is bad, energy's going to benefit from that and not care. So definitely keep that in mind.
Did that cold, like why cold ran? Did that make sense to you? Because that did not make sense to me.
As a news reaction, no. I mean, not really. Like, I don't think that's not a reason for natural gas prices to
Drop.
right? But I mean, it's just purely natural gas futures drop, cold goes up, and cold's going to go up more than they're going to drop, and so that's just going to kind of be the pattern. But no, it wasn't really it wasn't flow driven or anything. It was just a little
Reaction.
buying frenzy. I mean, I see this in uranium. If a plant has a safety issue of some kind, uranium will just drop, even though it's in the real world not going to have any impact on it. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean, and just we're back in the 18s
100%.
cold. So
100%.
just
I like.
I mean, love this one. It's the easiest play there is. If when energy weakens at all, just jump on cold, and even if you're late, you're going to get a 10% on it. It's amazing. Love it.
Well, and I like the move. Like we're getting some kind of idea after post split now too, and I like that. I mean, I was a little bitter I missed it because I was trying to nail the bottom instead of just grabbing 100 shares because it was in the teens, right? You just grab 100 shares and sell it in the 20s. Real simple. And I didn't. But looking at back now, it's like, all right, it's giving me on the chart. I know 23 is kind of the high spot if we don't get real good news. Maybe you can hold it a little bit longer than just 220, 21 and stuff like that. So I like it. I love it a lot, though. This is
I mean, it's just a reality that when natural gas prices are somewhat sane again, cold is going to be $30 to $50. And so,
yes,
you can day trade this if you wanted to just DCA and hold it. That's what's going to happen. I mean, it's just it's not going to this is energy doesn't stay up like this forever. It just doesn't. And there's nothing special about our moment in history that would make that happen. The Ukraine war will end, and just energy prices will come back down, new supplies, government policy. I mean, there's just a lot of things that could drive prices back down, and when that happens, cold's gonna double from here. So
most people don't grasp the fact that most commodities, especially oil, they basically have it set up so it's supposed to be a certain price, and they move supply in and out of the market depending on the demand to keep it at that price, and then everybody gets to like take part in it. So they don't like just have one person saying, I got a bajillion barrels of oil for you. How low can you go? Like it's set up to keep oil around $80 a barrel, and people don't understand that about commodities. A lot of them, they have a pivot price, and in the long run, it's going back to that price. Oil's not staying at 120 forever. It's just not. It's not staying
Right.
above. It's not like now we're just oil's $100 a barrel either. They will do everything possible to get it back to the center point. Um,
Yeah,
I
and the resulting like stock movement, like Oxy is going to go back to like 40, 45, 50. I don't think it's going to go back to like 22 or anything. But you know, it's going to happen, and at the same time you don't really want to try to call the top in an uptrend like this. You're much better off playing the momentum till it does, you know, it doesn't give it to you. If I have a loss on an Oxy trade, then I'll be 20-2 on my lifetime Oxy trades, or whatever, 50-2 or 50-4 or
sure.
whatever. I mean, because you just keep hitting it till it doesn't work, and that's kind of where we're at in energy.
Here's me calling the top, and I actually had help from P on this on oil right here. This 120 line on Gush. You see this? This is me trying to call the
Yeah,
top on oil. Yeah, 240, bud.
yeah,
Don't do it. Like he's saying it. Don't try to call the top. Um, I'm gonna learn how to
yeah.
short. I'm
A
gonna
lot
learn
of
how to
people
short.
were a lot of people were saying that 100 would be kind of it on Exxon, and 100, like, it blew right through that and just hasn't even gone back yet. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
What do you
no
think?
stopping these right now.
What do you think about? It's a tech stock too, but I was a little interested because of the way the chart is. AMD.
So yeah, yesterday was kind of interesting because semiconductors were showing more weakness than the market in general, and so it kind of felt like that was sort of a barometer of what was going to happen today. Look, in hindsight. But yeah, AMD 95 is the bearish target right now. I don't really see them aggressively pushing it too far below that. But I think we might actually see that number tomorrow, I think.
Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. I was just really curious if they were trying to hold this 100 level or not. That 100 level.
Yeah.
I've talked about how
No,
huge it is.
not as much as I would think they would. They're just letting it fall through that. 95 sort of the number that stands out.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um, don't think we're going to get under 90 again, but it'd be a pretty massive market sell off if we got under 90 on this one.
90 still a higher low.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still a higher low. If you get 95, would be a great sign. Like if that held, that would be a great sign to continue this uptrend. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
it's had a solid month and a half after ER.
Look at Himex holding up today.
Yeah,
Green on
I
the day.
yeah. I've been with this and Fro. I've been watching FRO.
Yeah.
They're flipping resilient. Um, super resilient. Yeah, this just has to get through that 10p.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting on that. I don't really want to trade it down here, but once it gets
100%.
back in that range, that familiar range, then I'll just hit it over and over again like I did last time.
I did not buy it at 7. It happened too quick, and I'm in the same ballpark as you. It's just not enough there between 9 and 10 for me. But when it gets above 10, I'm interested because 12 is the next level. I believe it's 12 next level. 12 and a half.
Yeah, I think when it claims 10 with some authority, I think it's just gonna hold on to it. So
You're froze the same
yeah, I mean
way.
that's just a good example of what we try to teach with our trading style. I mean, yes, like 983 is less than 10, but 983 can easily fall to 920, whereas when it claims 10, it's probably going to hold on to that. So
It doesn't matter whether it's 983, 1083, 1183. You need a position that you're going to get enough of a move that 5% is butter.
Yeah.
and then hopes that you have enough range for continuation off that level. If you just stick with that simple mindset on the share side, it's hard to lose because you're going to get green entries. Trying to like
Yeah, when I
time
back
breakouts.
in December when I was doing the 10 to 12 thing, and then I just kept some, and it flew all the way to 15. So so when you get your freebie shares or freebie options, that's what can happen, and can just kind of make your month if
Yes.
but you're not holding everything for that move. You're taking your percent when it hits.
Yeah, that was my big problem with trying the breakout strategy in the last room. Like, it's just not the safest way to trade. I mean, is it there? Does it usually in a euphoric market does it work? Sure, but normally, like buying on a psychological or a resistance break and hoping that just holds is playing with fire.
Yeah, I just want one candle takes you out.
Yeah.
I don't like those kind of trades.
Yeah, not at all. Do you have anything on Fro? I'm just it dipped a little bit today. That 1050 is just strong.
Yeah, let me see here. So I mentioned this in my notes yesterday. All shipping stocks have been getting pummeled, and I'm not exactly sure why, but like Zim down another 10% today. Gogol down 5%. So yeah, I don't know what it is about shipping right now, but
I would
but
think,
they're all getting hit.
I'd think P that if you're a shitty shipper, you're running on diesel, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's what I would think. I mean, that's just where my head goes.
Yeah, they're not like
they're not nuclear. No.
Nuclear, right? Yeah.
No, they're not, P.
I'm an English professor. All right, this takes me a minute. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the flow is well, a lot. I mean, there's some of it's bearish today. We'll see if that holds or if they've kind of had enough. But really, there's nothing on Fro that pushes it. 9 is like it. I mean, it's going to bounce off 9 from what I see, and it might not even get all the way there. But on the option side, 9p is a strong bullish contract. So they're going to probably flip this off that.
It's just an interesting one because we got through our level and then it basically last 2 weeks said no, that's gonna be the top, which is 1050.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to probably look into to crappy shippers, huh? That'd probably be a good idea. The only one I know off the top.
I listed one
shit
yesterday that was new to me. Let me call that back up.
They're shipping in that one that got pumped to, it's like CRM or something like that.
Oh yeah, Caster.
Is that CTRM? What is that? CTRM. It is CTRM.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't trust that one, but I like Ship a little bit, but it just hasn't moved. So I should probably find a couple more shitty.
So the one I had was GSL, which I don't think is it's a small cap, but I don't think it's like a penny. Yeah, there's $21. But yeah, so it fell a little bit again today. Probably 21.20 or 20 is probably the floor on that one.
Yeah, I'm putting 25, and then we have RTL from way back at 20, basically 24, 23.85. That's kind of
just across the entire big overreaction across the entire sector is kind of what I'm seeing.
That's a good channel. Yeah, 20.50 to 23.75. That's a good channel right there. You've been there for a month and a half.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's not enough in the flow to break out of it onto the downside. So
to the down, yeah.
So we're kind of at the bottom end.
Yeah, so if 20s are offered, I like this. What's our one dip candle? The one dip candle was 2014. You're probably not getting 20s if you're seeing strong flow there.
Yeah.
Good call, P. This is gonna end
Yeah.
up being back at like 27, and we're gonna come look at the chart and.
So I'm gonna buy at least. I'm just gonna buy one contract, so I can say I'm in it when that happens.
I do that on the share side all the time with your stuff because I don't follow it, right? And if it's like $3 or $4, I don't care. But it like at least you kind of are mindful of the moves. If I'm trying to learn something, it's a good way. Just buy one share.
So DWAC is getting pretty.
I told you.
Coiled, tight. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I was just looking at this. It's just not moving.
It ain't
which
going.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna dig into the flow on this tonight.
But when it does move, it's gonna be drastic, whichever the way it is. And the downside number is 32 for me, and the upside number, I really don't have one.
Right. Yeah, I don't just need Trump to say something. I don't know.
I mean, volume profile 70% is it's like 75.
Yeah. Now sometimes this one will go if something bad happens with Twitter. This will just go. Yeah. But I mean, you don't get much tighter than that. Down 0.82% when you look at the overall market conditions.
No volume, and no one wants to. It's like everyone's holding their cards. Everyone has 2 pair, and we're going to see who has the highest 2 pair.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's the best way to explain what's going on here. Yeah, it's dumb. I noticed it a couple days ago and was like, all right, be ready to buy this. And I was like, well, if I'm going to buy DWAC, I better tell P because he'll see it before me. So, I don't know. This has been, I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but this market like is made for what I do. When it's indecisive and sideways, I'm very good. The problem is when we get to like Thursday, Wednesday, you have to stop and like totally reassess everything. Like it's confusing in that regard because what was like Fubo's a good one. What was playable basically buy off 320 and sell in the 30s. It isn't that way now. It's back to the $3 level. So you got to like constantly pivot. Depending on market conditions.
Flow is the same way in that a lot of the midweek stuff is hedging. So like, the flow reads over the weekend. I mean, for one thing, I have more time to go through it, but the reaction to what happened is a lot of times what you get in Wednesday, Thursday flow. And then, you have to kind of just filter out the weekly contracts late in the week because they're just a mess of gambling. Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, that's what whales are doing. I mean, they're buying like, Tesla weeklies that are way out of the money. They're doing the same thing that retail traders are doing.
No, that's what I love about us. No one else is going to say that. They're going to go, well, it's volume's up on the Tesla, so what we should do is this, and I think this is going to happen. No, you just analyze what's really going on, and that's fucking it. Yeah, they're gambling just like we do.
Yes, exactly.
And it's true, and knowing that I think it's key, man. It's key to this game. Because if not, you just see fat flow reads, right? And you're like, hey, they're buying it. It's going to go up. Like they could just be gambling.
You can't just call up the pie chart and go. There's more to it.
Yeah,
for sure.
The pie chart.
AMC, I really don't like this spot for AMC. Not saying it's going to go down, but it's sort of just right smack in the middle of where I would want to buy it. So I needed more of a pullback before I like that one. What was your number on AMC?
1155.
1155. Yeah, so got to at least get under 12 before I have any kind of confidence on that.
We hit that Tuesday. We came right off of it Tuesday. It was 75, but Close
Yeah.
enough, right? I like the dip buy here because we have kind of went back to that 15, 17 level a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't think it's starting to get a lot of the buzz again. That's how I'll say it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but
well, I am. It's like so much so that if I go to, I guess it's a mid cap in that communication services, which incorporates movie theaters and all that, it's all AMC. Until if I don't filter it out, it's like all I'm going to see. So there is a lot of attention being given to that.
This is where it ran from 70 before.
Yeah.
The low teens, and the reason I know that is because I was in it. I just sold at 24. But this is, I think that's a big part of it, is because we're at that same level again. So it's like, is this round two? Everybody back in. Where GameStop was at 40, 48 maybe the day it took off.
Right.
And that's not coming back. That's just not coming back anytime soon. So I think that's kind of the appeal here a little bit. But I've heard it everywhere that it's going to happen again, or that the first one wasn't the big one. This next one's the big one.
Right.
You know how this fucking.
Overall, like I put this in my notes yesterday. Resorts and entertainment and like IMAX that fit into this category, where I think that we're going to hit a pretty good trend on some of these. MGM, LVS,
Wynn,
Sands. New one I'm going to put in my notes tonight is Bowl. BOWL.
I got one for you here in a second. Keep going.
And so deal on Bowl is it's just $10 line in the sand, flow to 12 to 13. So I think I like the ratio there with it sitting at 1039.
This is recent IPO, 6 months or so old. Kind of just stuck it really inside bar of the first candle, 1260 your top. But yeah, I'm with you. I love 10.
Yeah, I mean they operate bowling centers, so the ticker fits. Who doesn't like bowling? Bowling's fun. But anyway, yeah,
9's a good shelf too, but 10 is where all the volume's at.
Yeah. So the sold puts at 10 is what got my attention. Perfect. And then I dug a little more and 12, 13. So
I just like
one to watch. Probably will end up on the hot list next week. We'll see.
I don't know if it has options. I probably should look before I ask. But VIC, you ever heard of that one?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, get on it. It's got the 2.5. They're in that too. The casino side, and they're probably the better business model than most of them. I forget exactly what, but I think this is gonna break out in the long run.
Nice. Price is right.
Yeah, I forgot exactly what they did, but they have casino properties. They're property management, obviously, but exactly I don't know if it's just the smaller ones. I should have took more notes. But the news I was watching was like, hey, you better get on that one. Like, put it with MGM and whatnot. So, 35 is kind of the top, it seems. Stupid $5 strikes though, or 250 strikes kind of kills it on your end, huh?
Yeah, it's hard to read. Hey, what was pushing SOS today? They have some news or something?
No, I kind of said it halfway through the day. Half of my list this morning was nothing but the stocks under $1, and I just think it falls in that category.
Yeah, it Flo picked up on it after it spiked. So it's like they didn't drive that, but they started to pile in after they saw that move. So it's definitely something to take note of. It's the 50-cent contract.
I
for
think
next week.
I think the pumpers know how to play options off the pump. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on with some of those. But just a real quick one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of like maybe of the about half of the ones that were green on my big watch list today were under $1.
Wow.
That's not normal, like at all. It did not make sense to me. That tells me they don't have anywhere else to go, right? They're not going down farther, so they have a small 1, 2, 3%, 5% day. Exception being IMPP that ran like crazy.
Yeah, and I mean they're I think a lot of people are tentative about the large caps just with CPI coming out. They'd rather play the aftermath. That's why, I mean, tomorrow could be a huge volume day, depending on what happens. So definitely going to be some excitement, I think.
We know the thing is everyone knows it's going to be bad, and I think that's why we have the sell-off today, because it's not going to be good. It's just how bad is it? How far off of
and it's just expectations on how bad it will be are just like through the roof. So if it just matches that could be seen as positive. You kind of never know.
The what I seen is kind of a little hopeful, but I don't know how it affects things. Is the household wealth number was like extremely down, like $3 trillion in household wealth. But the average, if you look at it like from year to year, we're still in an uptrend in that regard. Like we're still ahead of the game. So that to me was like, yeah, we lost a lot, but we were ahead an awful lot. So yeah, I don't really know how to equate that or how that's going to affect CPI, because I mean that is kind of what CPI is, right? It's like how much money we're spending on shit. Right. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So that the households still have money, right, and an adequate amount for the most part, just not in excess like we had last year. It's interesting to me, and again, I don't know how that's going to affect the thing, but I'm just kind of sitting on. I mean, it comes out pre-market, so we'll know right away.
Yeah, right? The one the tech that I'm watching, just because I can look at crypto prices. Coin in particular for me is pretty close to bottomed out. I mean, I think the $50 thing on earnings is a pipe dream. It's not going to happen again. So we get down to like 60, 62, maybe like 61, but I don't think it goes much below that. So anything positive it'll bounce pretty hard.
Are you calling the bottom, P? I think you just called the bottom there.
I think I did. Yeah, I follow this one a lot.
And so. It was 40 too, bud. It was 40.
40. That's unreal.
40.
I had puts through earnings, and then I didn't come back for the upside. I should have, but
yeah. It is. I think I mentioned it. I think this was in my list this week because the level here is becoming undeniably strong. There's not much downside, a lot of upside from here.
And that was I mean, on days when, I mean, crypto's just been a disaster, but it's still not giving up this level. So that to me is a good sign. Hey, am I crazy that Beyond Meat could lose 20?
Beyond Meat this is go to 0, P.
Because the whales are in leaps to 15. So I think that might happen. I mean, this is one of those where it's the ER disaster might not be the bottom. I think it actually could fall below that.
Yeah, you don't have the support. You're in a downtrend. If 20 breaks, you're in trouble.
Yeah. that's kind of my take on it.
That
I
your
just been
real
playing triggers on it, and they hit because a normal day on this one's 5% or more. Either way,
yeah, that's probably gonna go fast under 22.
yeah,
To be honest, yeah, no bottom. What you said 15 puts
15 puts. Yep, for
I,
January 2023.
I will play Beyond Meat in the teens. That $40 or $50 stuff you try to get me to do, I'm good.
Yeah, there is they have nothing. There's nothing good about this company. The only good thing that happens is some fast food chain
Yeah,
picks them
because
up
yes,
and
yes,
they pump for a day.
that's where the
But
team buy comes in because they have to be cheap enough for the company to want to acquire them.
yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, and then you play the pump for the day. Don't Twitter it.
And there's just kind of I don't know. It's sort of the whole concept of this plant meat is just sort of to me un-American. And I don't mean I'm not being political, but I'm just saying like it just it goes against like just I don't know the so much about American culture to me that it's kind of just a tough sell long term. I mean, there's a lot of technology behind it that is interesting, but it just doesn't have the exciting appeal of it is that you're eating something that's made to look like something else, but it isn't real. I think that's a big barrier for a lot of people.
You sound like a young Republican over there.
Yeah,
No, I think it's a fad, right?
yeah.
I'm, to be honest with you, surprised like tofu's hung around this long.
Right.
I mean, I eat beef, um, period. Like I don't get it. Um,
And I'll eat salad. I love vegetables, but I like them to just look like what they are. I don't
you want to know what I think about when I think about Beyond Meat? Is
know.
have you ever seen like the stock lab footage when they grow like an ear or an arm
Yeah,
on a rat?
Yeah.
Like that pops in my head when I think of Beyond Meat. That's it. Like they're just harvesting
Right.
half of a I don't know. And I know that's not it, but still.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
I was in Ruby Tuesday the other day, and they have they call it the awesome burger, and
yeah.
it's not meat, and
Did
it
you
to
eat
me
one?
like when you're just using that word, you're kind of overselling what it is.
Did you eat one?
So, no, God, no.
Oh, okay.
I had wings. I
Yeah.
had wings from real chickens pumped with all natural hormones.
Yeah, the all natural hormones is where it's at. I'm weird in that regard. Like I won't eat one of them burgers. I'm kind of like stubborn. Like I've never got me and my buddy. The only reason it's prevalent in my head because we were arguing about it the other day. Like I've never got a pedicure either, and that's just something I'm not doing. um, like I'm ordering a steak and I'll cut my own nails. It's all good. um, but yeah, and I think a lot of people are to add that to what we're saying. I think a lot you're on the right track. Is there's a lot of people like that. Like they're just gonna eat a regular burger, even if the doctor says to switch to Beyond Meat. They're eating the regular burger, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, I can't think
Hey,
of. Go ahead.
do you agree with my take on real estate stocks that like those in particular are facing some tough conditions because there's so much bad news in real estate right now?
I took Zillow off the hot list for that very reason. They all seemed like, just from a TA side, they were lagging a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
and then the inevitable, the market is going to pull back a little bit, whether it's just not buying 50,000 or 20,000 over cost on the first day. Like it's going to pull back to like regular offers take a week, and that is going to limit um, their amount of business, right? Because I mean they were just selling everything the second it flew out. Um,
Yeah. And they in terms of how they're reacting in the flow, I mean for months what you would have is you'd have these big drops in Open and Redfin, and the whales would grab out of the money calls, and when the market turned positive, those real estate stocks would outpace a lot of tech and, just have a really good day. Whereas now the losses are steeper and it's not being matched by gains. So like, open drops 9%, a good day, it'll go up 3%, not 12%. So that's why I'm staying away from these for now and just going to let them, hopefully just retrace all the way down to some of their recent lows. I don't know if open's going to go back to like, 550 or something like that, but definitely could lose 6 and we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, there's not much down there. It doesn't really have a bottom under 7. It was trying to regain its actual floor.
Yeah.
The only one that's not, they're all the same. So you're 100% right. Like, it's too consistent. The only one I'm seeing that's not, and I think it's because it's more of a shitty penny, is Kind.
Yeah.
But it's just looks behind a little bit, right? Like it's gonna follow. It's the little brother in the diaper running behind.
Right.
But yeah, that's why I took Zillow off this week, was because it was just flat. It looked like it was about to fail. It's just been so flat. And then you think, all right, well, it's flat. Is there any good catalyst coming? And if you just walk down the path there, it's probably negative. The housing market's probably next news is probably negative. Builders are getting hit right now. They're the next one in that chain, right? You build and then they sell the houses. That's how that kind of works. There's a lot going on there that I don't like. I think we are due for, again, I'll just use my house. My house is up like $200K in the last 3 years, right? Like, we're probably going to give half that back. Just is what it is, right? Like in the market sense. Not that like affects my bottom line or anything. I'm going to live here for a while, but I really see that happening, especially in my market. It's overextended up here.
A lot of my friends who bought houses recently, they're just dealing with the property tax fallout of these raised valuations. So they try to fight it, and sometimes when you fight it, it ends up worse. So it's it's not a good situation.
I went up. It was like $70 a month on taxes this year.
Yeah.
But back to the interest rates, if they continue to rise, they're going to drive prices down. They're going to make it a little harder for people to get loans. They're going to stay on the market longer, which is going to slow down their business in general. I totally see that. And then it ebbs and flows. So as soon as that kind of rebounds, like we get back to a happy medium, there is plenty of home buyers out there. That's not the problem with the real estate industry. There's a line of people ready to buy. It's just having the proper amount of inventory and a good rate, a good interest rate, which people are going to find out that 5 to 7% is probably going to be a good rate for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're buying in the next 3 to 5 years, that's what it is. That's just how I see it. I don't know. I'm looking for a second one, so I kind of follow it a little bit, but there's just not a lot of relief. I know the guy, my buddy that has a couple, just put one up, and he's going to cut $20K off of it after the first, it's been a week. I think his realtor's saying we want to wait a couple weeks, not just do it. But people are used to selling their house in 3 days. Like, that's the normal, right? So waiting 2 weeks, you're like, what's going on? But yeah, I don't see downside, P. Like, I think you're, what else can you take from these guys?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna dig into some flow on some of these names I hadn't really seen before, but definitely just gonna kind of wait and see. Pre-market is going to be more interesting than normal tomorrow, so just I won't really be in anything, but I'll just be watching and looking for some levels to hold.
Yeah, I like it. I'm definitely with you. I hit goal pretty early in this week, um, and I try to stay light after that in general. So tomorrow, unless it's perfect, I'm probably not trading, to be honest with you. Um, kind of need a little bit of a chart break in general. Um, but I'm pumped for next week, like already. Um, if you don't have a plan tomorrow, sitting on your hands ain't a bad idea. I think there's going to be a ton of opportunity next week from this pullback. Like, um,
Yeah, I mean, just so many of my favorites are just right at some key levels. So
yes, yes,
if like if net breaks down below 50, I'll be all over it because 50 is really strong on that. So I kind of hope for a red day tomorrow, just to create more setups and
yes.
but yeah, we'll see. I have a little more time tomorrow. Kind of light on the obligations here. We sort of wrapped up some things early, so I will be on Discord more. I'll have my full sector notes and all that, and then next week I'm finally back home, and I'll be doing the live streams again and all that stuff.
Hey, if yeah, and I don't care who hears it. Since we record Sunday anyways, if there's a better time for you at any time, especially right now, just let me know and I'll be ready. And we can record. I don't care if it's whenever, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
Saturday night, Sunday, whatever. We can record whenever you're ready or whenever fits your schedule. So
okay,
just let me know because I don't
yeah,
that we record. I don't really have to tell. We don't have to tell people. They can just watch the damn video.
right, right. No, that's true. Yeah.
So if
Um.
there's anything that works better for you, just let me know, and then
Okay.
I'll be ready for it for this weekend or any weekend in the future. Because I mean, we have to live life, P. We have to live
Yeah. Yeah.
life. Like I
Right. Right.
we are more like a news service with customer support. That's kind of how I see us. We don't alert. We literally just bring a bunch of ideas to the table, and if you have a problem with them, we kind of try to help you walk through those. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of why I messaged you, bro. Do whatever. I don't care. Like if it's just me and you in this room, that's fine with me.
Yeah. No, there's money to be made for sure. So we
Exactly.
will do that. All right.
Awesome.
Cool. Well. All right. I'll be in touch.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.